We see. All right. Awesome. So I'm gonna be here just as a tech support. But hi to everyone. My name is Kati Sista. I'm part of the soon-to-be retiring EB. Have been texting you guys about these calls, and I'm really happy to be here to listen in and see and hear the thoughts of the new people. But that also means that I'm not the one who's going to be hosting this session, and I'm really happy to introduce Nikos Giotis, who's a data research coordinator at the German press agency DPA, he has also extensive experience in event facilitation, in workshops, seminars, debates, and also youth engagement. He also has rich experience and knowledge about European politics, as his department mainly investigates issues related to EU countries' elections. And he's going to be the primary coordinator for these debates. So yeah, I'm giving the floor to you, Nikos, and welcome everyone. I'm letting people in when they drop in.
Thank you, Kati, and good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to help moderate this introduction call. I won't be speaking much. Just before we begin, just a quick reminder for our ground rules for tonight. Please keep a respectful and constructive tone at all times. Audience questions can be posted in the chat, ideally addressed to all candidates of the same role. Each candidate will have their full speaking time without interruptions. I will keep track of time and make sure everyone has an equal opportunity to speak. And here's how the session will run, so everything stays clear and fair. Each candidate will begin with a 3-minute introduction, presenting themselves, their motivation, and their priorities for the next mandate. After that, we will move to a 45-minute moderated discussion, where each answer will be up to 2 minutes. Then we will have our audience Q&A, and answers ideally would be up to 1.5 minutes each. And then we can have a closing remarks from all candidates. My role here is just to keep the discussion flowing and balanced. So without further ado, maybe we can start with the vice president candidates. First Nea, then Deborah, and then we will hear from Anna, who is running for treasurer. Maybe you can also share your pronouns, so there is no confusion around that. And yes, the first question for you is simple. Who are you? Why did you decide to run for this position? And you have 3 minutes for the introduction. Now you can start.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. So my name is Nea-Maria Törmänen, but everyone calls me Nea, so you can do that as well. I'm running for Vice President of CHEF Europe, and why I wanted to do that is that I feel that we need a structural shift in the next mandate. I think that we need to focus on the onboarding of the new mandate and also the team spirit for the new mandate, not only as within EB, but with the whole European level. So I think that I will definitely be the right person to help CHEF Europe with that. Other than that, what are important themes for me and in my candidacy and during next mandate, like in the organizational field, I want to focus on inclusivity and accessibility. This is personal theme for me and also really important, not only for me, but many people, so that we can make CHEF as accessible as possible and inviting to all young Europeans. I want to focus on fixing our funding situation in the light of the operational grant lost. So we need to projectify our actions. And also I want to revise the national section contact person system so that we can actually, in the European level, support the national sections the best way possible. So tailored, personal and consistent. Also in the political sphere, there are important topics that I have extensive knowledge about, which I would like to give for Jeff Europe to use in the next mandate. So my political priorities are climate change and climate crisis, also human rights and rule of law in that regard, and also social justice and social policy. Those are kind of like hardcore PC2 subjects, which is also natural because I'm at the moment the co-chair of PC2, which is the European Internal Affairs. So I'm a co-opted member of Jeff Europe Federal Committee. Before that, I have been serving as vice president and international officer of Jeff Finland, and also been a Jeffer since 2018, so quite many years. And all that time I have been in the international working group of Jeff Finland. So the Congress in Strasbourg will be my 4th and 8th statutory meeting. So I think that I can also bring a perspective of long history in Jeff, because I think that's something we need to learn from as well.
Thank you so much, Nea, and right on time. And Deborah, you can continue.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm also running for the position of Vice President of Jeff Europe. I am Deborah Striani, I'm 24 years old. I'm part of this organization since I was 18, so quite a long time for me too. And it happened when I was sent to the Ventotene seminar in Italy, and then I discovered federalism and federalist. Then I decided to create a local section of Jeff in my own country, own city. And then I served as a secretary of this local section, then as a treasurer of regional section. And then I was part of the international office of Jeff Italy, where I worked with a lot of Jeff project and part of the final conference of this project with Jeff, such as Meet, Next Chapter Europe, COIV, Next Generation Jeff. So I worked a lot close to Jeff Europe. Then I was elected as national board member of Jeff Italy, and I'm the person still in charge until 1 week before the European Congress, when we will be in Pisa for our national Congress. I'm the one in charge in the National Board of Projects, coordinating of campaigns, and all the organizational stuff and life of the organization. So I'm also organizing the statutory meetings as now. Then I decided to run for this position because we felt, because this is not an individual candidacy, I discussed a lot with my sections and a lot of federalists that I met across Europe. I decided to run because I want to put myself at the service of the organization. All my skill, all what I learned in this organization, all the projects that I created, I made. I also created and launched the European Bench campaign that was implemented in national level with the support of the European institutions. And then it became a campaign of Jeff Europe and a lot of Jeff section implemented. My priorities, first of all, strengthening the training of Jeff Europe, political trainings. I want to focus on seminars, education, and also about federalism in general. So I think that we have a lot of seminars, and I want to implement more opportunity to learn and to grow as a Jeffers and to discover more federalism, both in practice and in theory. Then campaign. I'm running also because I want to put at the service of the organization, organizing campaign, coordinator campaign together with the board that will be elected. And I have at my heart Democracy Under Pressure campaign, because I think democracy and federalism are inseparable, and we really need to put this effort talking about democracy all the year, and then arrive in the mobilizing week with strong and with a report and with a lot of actions between all the network of Jeff. Then ready for what is next. In the next year, 2026, we will have 10
If you could sum it up a bit, and Deborah, thank you.
The campaign Don't Touch My Schengen, the anniversary of the Brexit referendum, the passing away of Spinelli anniversary, and I want to make this day mobilization hooks and days for all the networks.
Thank you, Deborah. And we'll move on to Anna.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm Anna van de Moosdijk. Most of you know me as currently co-chair of Task Force Capacity Building in the FC of JEF Europe. My JEF journey started in Lille during European election campaign 2019, where I actually went to see if JEF was convincing enough to me. I felt federalist way before joining JEF. I'm originally from a rural area in France, where my parents are dairy farmers, where I stayed until 18 years old in the countryside, and I had to go to the city to study political sciences, so I had to move far away and find my way in this studies. When I joined first in Lille, I was more an active member and doing some civic education. Went on Erasmus in Estonia when there was not JEF Estonia yet. Very happy it exists now. And then when I arrived in the Netherlands to do my master degree, I found JEF Maastricht that was going through a COVID time where it was losing a lot of members. And I was already hooked on the JEF spirit thanks to the YFED edition 1 back in the day in Strasbourg. And I wanted to jump in immediately. There was the position of international officer came to be open, and that's how I started my journey at the national level of a JEF section, and the European network opened up in front of me. I had to go through a lot of struggles there, also went through a burnout in the process, but nowadays I'm very happy to see JEF Netherlands having succeeded over the years and having rebuilt. It has been a long process. I've had to train probably 3 generations of JEFers before we got there, but that's how I came also then to capacity building in JEF, and that's exactly the experience I want to carry at European level. We've been through a 2-year mandate that has been difficult with some structural issues. I mean, funding is a difficult thing for civil society nowadays. There is a lot of attacks on our funding. Also, we need to keep a positive ambiance in our network. And I think we need, for me, all this, it has to be supported by structures. So I think that we can work on those together, have things that can be put in place beyond training to actually support sections to be even more vibrant. And I'm thinking of the section I'm from, but also many others in the network. So there is the structural part in my priority, but there is also the political side, because of course we don't live in a vacuum, and funding is linked to politics, especially when we see the now review of the MFF, and we see a very different structure than we saw in the past, and it has to be one of our fights. And also, of course, one of my priorities is tied to where I come from. I've seen around me in rural areas, many young people turn to the far right because they felt not heard by other sides of the spectrum. And I feel like they are actually, I work for young farmers in Brussels as project manager, and I see concretely on the ground how the far right is totally not following the path of helping rural areas. It's rather using their voice and turning against them once they are in the political arena. I want to show the light on this, and I want federalism to go beyond the centers. Of course, we are an elite project, but we, from the start, maybe a lot of people from academia and things like that, but it's really a project that is there to serve people beyond the center.
Sum up, because
that's actually probably my last sentence is like, I want to bring JEF beyond the center. I want to bring JEF to rural areas, to young farmers, to also outermost regions, to all the people that don't necessarily think it's serving them because it's a big word, but it's actually something that can bring so much good in Europe, and we need to carry it forward and hopefully see a European Federation come about. But this is, I'm gonna talk more later on, so I'm stopping here.
Thank you, Anna, and sorry for interrupting you. I'm here mostly for timekeeping, so I hope you can understand. We can move on to our next question. What parts of your experience or professional background are most relevant to the role you are applying for? Nea Maria, if you want to start.
Yes, absolutely. How much time do we have for this?
For this section, we have 2 minutes per question.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Well, first of all, I work as a casting director in film industry. That is quite different in certain ways than politics and organization work. But what is important here is that on daily basis, I'm a supervisor for a team. I make difficult decisions daily basis in an extreme pressure. So I would say that I'm highly trained in that department. I know that that is something that I would need in the role of vice president. Besides that, I've been the vice president and a board member in JEF Finland, where I have gathered a lot of experience, for example, figuring out a financial situation after the loss of OG or operational grant. So been there before and also been running a lot of projects and event production in JEF Finland. So that is the background from there. Now I'm working as a co-chair of PC2. So a lot of political writing and discussion and also chairing the PC meetings. So that's something that I have been doing a long time in the chair position a year, but participating in the PC and TF calls also many years before that. I think that the things that I can bring for the PC is also to be an expert in the subjects that we have recently adopted as resolutions. So then that I can help make those resolutions into reality in advocacy in the future.
Thank you so much, Nea. Thanks for keeping the time. We'll move on to Deborah.
Thank you for the question. First of all, I think the skill of coordinating campaigns, because it's a task that I'm having in JEF Italy, and the one that I also have in my work, since I work as a political consultant for a federalist movement. And then also is the one that I put into practice when I launched the European Benches campaign. That basically was an idea that I started locally by me and my local section of 20 JEFers. And then we decide to launch a crowdfunding, and we decide to talk with partners, institutions, and I was also able to have their support politically, economical, and also about press release and everything that it's the coordination of a campaign, since the idea from the implementation to the network. It's one that I really love to do, and I think I'm also good at. Second, it's about the studying of federalism from theory to practice. I really like to studying federalism, about the political elaboration of federalism, and I really love to organize debate, events, and I think JEF is also one organization that needs a person that wants to organize event, that wants to be part of the European bubble, that wants to make the European and federalist voices more heard from partners, from politicians, from parties, etc. And then all the advocacy and project management, since I work with a lot of JEF projects in the last 4 years. I was mentioned before, Meet, Next Chapter, Europe, COIMV, and we didn't just do some events like randomly. We decided to create some coordinating big and huge campaign. For example, we organized Meet in Lampedusa with more than 25 high schools across all European countries. So I think my best skill is to try to put an idea into practice, working as a team, because alone it's impossible to do anything, and as a team of people that is committed to work, hard-working person, since I always work with people in JEF that are voluntary, since in JEF Italy we are 100% voluntary based. So even in case we didn't manage to get all the fundings, I know we are able to work together and create the space to make the rebuild trust between JEF and the sections, and create projects, and drafting also applied for new projects together and make our organization even stronger.
Thank you, Deborah. And now to Anna.
Thank you very much. So when it comes to the experience I have that can support the treasurer role, I think that definitely being a project manager helps for this function, especially with expected mostly project-based budgets. So this is my professional experience. I've now been 4 years in Brussels doing actually that, managing writing projects. And the organization I work for, well, on the paper, structurally, a part of the membership fees that are probably way higher because it's young professionals, so it's a different type of configuration. It has a very similar budget to Jeff. In terms of amounts, it's landing around between 700,000 euros and 1 million euros a year, which is probably quite similar to the one of Jeff. Also, one thing that is quite well, destiny to a certain extent is we have actually the same operating grant that Jeff has won for the upcoming programming period of the next 2 years. And well, we'll see how far we've come, but at least I know that in the upcoming 2 years we can count on that one. So for deadlines and everything, I'm quite covered because both in my professional and potentially Jeff life, I will have to cover those. So for the project side, I'm very set. I'm ready to support our team and to write also for Jeff. There is no problem there. Then I think that for the position of treasurer, one thing essential is to be very connected and to have a lot of soft skills when it comes to bringing our network together. We have to close the membership fee discussion in this mandate, I believe. It has stirred enough emotions across our network. And I really think we need to bring together people to have solutions we can all find peace with at the end of the day. My aim is to diversify the funding of Jeff in a way of also trying to go out of the usual bubble of people we consult, and I want to team up with other civil society organizations to have a capacity building seminar funded by private donors. I think this is totally manageable, and this is also a way for us to potentially spread federalism broader, like what I've seen in other parts of the network, like in Jeff Italy, where Porta Europa was quite successful in bringing the federalist word further. I also want to count on
can sum up, Anna, please, because the 2 minutes have passed. Thank you.
I want to count on the skills of the rest of the team. I know that we have amazing fundraiser potentially that could be elected around me. And I think that message and identity should be the drivers of funding. Political priorities should be the drivers of funding. And we have, I'm quite good at this part as well. So I will stop here.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks, everyone. We'll move on to the next question. You already did it a bit, but could you share a bit more about your history and involvement in Jeff so far, and how that shaped your motivation for this mandate? Nea, if you want to start.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So I started in Jeff in 2018, and I got quite unusual start from my opinion, because my first event ever was the National General Assembly of Jeff Finland. It was my friend who asked me to come, and then I stayed. So it was amazing. That I think it's our greatest strength also to tell our friends about Jeff, so they will come along. But then I immediately after that joined the International Working Group of Jeff Finland, and that gained me the access to be the national delegate for Jeff Finland in different statutory events or participate in different projects. For example, I was in the original meeting of Nordic Baltic Network when we started the cooperation back in 2019. Then I was later on elected as board member and vice international officer in the board of Jeff Finland in 23, and then vice president and international officer of 24, and then this year I've been in the PC2, like I mentioned, the co-chair. What got me really into Jeff was the feeling that here are gathered all the pro-Europe minded people under the same roof, where I can find the political echo that I want for my ideas, where I can get inspired by others and also gain new ideas and learn a lot more, because I'm not from I have not studied in uni about political science or European studies or anything like that. So I'm truly excited that every day I can learn more.
Thank you so much, Nea. We'll move on to Deborah.
My job story started in a way that it's quite common instead in Jeff Italy, because when I was high school student representative of my little high school in a city close to Lecco, I decided to promote some school assembly on European integration, and then I won a contest, national contest of the Bocconi University about European integration and Brexit. And for this, a European foundation decided to send me in Ventotene for the Federalist training seminar of Ventotene that we are doing every year. And there I discovered federalism not only as a project, but also a process and a way of working together or staying together. And actually that gave meanings to my life, not in the sense that was the best thing ever, but in the sense that give me hope and a political horizontal to worth fighting for. So that's why this experience that for me, it's happening every year. And I know that many Jeffers across all the network are feeling the same with summer camp, with Università d'Ete seminar, with Sofia seminar, with a lot of seminars that annually Jeffers are doing. This moment is not just a date in the calendar, but it's a deep moment of reflection and renewing hope and the fight for a better future for all our generation and staying a generation ahead and for the European project and for European presence. And that's why I want to really focus on implementing the seminars, because I think that are the key to attract more federalists and to make our organization even stronger. And it's what differentiates Jeff from other pro-European organizations, for example, Erasmus Network or etc., because we are analyzing reality, we are looking at the present, but we are also looking at the future. We are simply a generation ahead. So this experience for me was mind-changing, and it is actually every single year of my life. Then also my Erasmus, I did 3 Erasmus. So
if you could sum it up, Deborah, please.
Yeah, I traveled a lot in Europe and I met a lot of Jeffers across all European countries. And that's why I felt that Europe, it's my home. And I want to connect all these people, all the idea on the project, because I think Jeff is the right organization to lead the change now.
Thank you, Deborah. And now to Anna.
Thank you very much. So when it comes to my journey, I already started to give you a glimpse. Probably also, I would say, yeah, why did I get hooked immediately? I'm binational. I grew up in the countryside. I did not really feel like I had a home for a very long time. And when I found Jeff, I felt at home. I felt at home in this organization of a lot of young people that were very moved by the vision they had, and something that was actually very positive in times where we had just the Brexit a few years back when I joined. I mean, the European elections were very much under this light. And so I arrived, probably my first international event in Jeff was YFED 1, as I mentioned, in Strasbourg and Ortenberg, if I remember well. And there was this group. I was so a member of parliament in a federalist setting, and I was like, that was the most amazing way to get acquainted with federalism, because we just tested it out for 1 weekend, and then I was like, I'm sure. And even during COVID and being far away, I continued to be active in Jeff Lille. And then, well, I found the Netherlands, and then the project manager in me that has always been there. I've been leading many things when I was younger as well in life, trying to make our rural area more attractive to young people already from a very young age. selling chocolates to get to have activities together with people and move the things up. So that's something that's very much in the heart of who I am. And then, well, founding Jeff Netherlands and having to go through all this hardship, but still managing to build something, managing to find people that were interested and build a team and set up a section again while it was almost dead. I was like, I have something to bring to the European level of Jeff Europe, because smaller sections and sections that are almost dying, but we need to revive them. We need to support them. And capacity building is way more than twinning across the network. Of course, horizontal cooperation is amazing, but we need to do more. We need to be bold. We need to train the leaders of tomorrow, because one thing I saw in the Netherlands was that volunteering became very much service-based. Like, people were searching for services in the association rather than and they were afraid of those leadership positions because it was quite cumbersome in terms of administration. The amount of times I've gone to the ING Bank in Maastricht myself, I know how to talk with bankers thanks to that, I would say. So I wanted to bring that to European level in capacity building. And I already had in my mind, if I see that the ideas are taking, I want to go to the executive level of Jeff to actually fund them properly. Because for me, money runs the world. So we need to have the funding for the structures we want, so that no one does a burnout, for instance, because they don't have the right support and tools. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Now we'll move to our next section, more about vision and political direction. Our first question would be, in your view, what should be Jeff's main political priorities and goals for the new 2025-2027 mandate? Nea, can you start?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the question. I think that we should aim to have, let's say, around 5 political priorities to focus on as a board. Obviously, there will be multiple themes, but as priorities. For me, I would say that human rights as part of the rule of law and also democracy as the other half is one of those themes that we should focus on. Then I would say that climate crisis and social justice. Obviously, these are the themes that I mentioned before that I think that I could offer expertise in Jeff Europe's board and as a vice president. Besides these themes, I think that we have other really important themes as well. I think that security policy and defense should be one of those priorities in the next mandate. And I think that it's great that we have candidates who are really talented in that department. And then I think that MFF should also be one of priorities, since that is something that Jeff needs to speak more about. But those first 3 are something that I find myself to be good at, and also that I have a lot to say. For example, I think that in social policy, we need to advocate for more stronger cooperation in the European level. I think that if we want to advocate for free movement doesn't actually exist, in my opinion, if social benefits and social rights do not follow you if you move to another European country, for example. So I think that the resolution that we will hopefully pass in the Congress about social justice gives us a marvelous way to move forward with our advocacy.
Thank you so much, Nea. Deborah?
For me, the first one is democracy. And that's why I really want to take care, and I really feel that the more important campaign of the next year should be democracy under pressure, because now we're living in a world where democracy it's really putting in danger, in pressure. And also on the other side, this happen inside the European Union, inside the European countries, so not just in the European Union. We are feeling this democratic deficit, and we need to work to also say and talk about the contradiction of this European Union. And also what happened globally, like how the European democracy is treated and how we need to make them more stronger. Other thing that is really connected to this, it's treaty change and the advance in European integration. And that's why, for me, our political priority has to be focused on the anniversary of the next 2 years, that we are living and that can connect historical struggle and today action. So, for example, I was mentioned before 10 years of Brexit referendum. This is a way where we can connect the cost of non-European integration, what happened if you don't care about the European project, or if you don't work for, like, also with people to create the consensus for the European integration and for European Federation. And then the anniversary of the Ventotene Manifesto. And I think this can also a way when we can talk about institutional change, and also what also Nea was mentioned, the debate about defense, about budget after the Next Generation JEF project. So are always a lot of open window that can be created, and we must be ready to like stay there and take open the window and try to pass the federalist message beyond. And then for JEF also advocacy, because we had a lot of idea, we have a lot of also resolutions, also Nea was mentioned because he's also working on one of them, political resolutions, and we need also to be better in the advocacy on the Spinelli group and talking with politicians, with party. So I'm also working on connect more with the youth wing of the party at the European level, because we need to influence them. As Spinelli was saying, our action has to be intergroup, like between the group of the European Parliament. So we need to be able to talk with all of them and try to push them for voting for a change, and also politically action. So for example, doing
close it up, Deborah?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. And now to Anna.
Thank you very much. So for political priorities, of course, they tie back also to the structural and organizational priorities. I already mentioned one. It has to do a lot with shrinking civic spaces and the funding of civil society. And for that, one of the big battles of this mandate is going to be the MFF, which I think we've done a masterclass in this mandate in capacity building, and only 5 people showed up. And it shows us the fact that people lack knowledge that actually the MFF determines everything. Budget lines determine everything, and we need to fight hard. We have a coalition with other civil society organizations already going on in this mandate. I want to fight with them, and I'm based in Brussels, and I know quite a lot about the topic. So I want to really push ahead also for clarity, because for now, budget lines under Agora Europe, for instance, are all very mixed, and no one knows really what is going to happen. We also need to be very careful with the working group that has been created by the European Parliament on the funding of civil society by the European Commission. The chair is a Dutch MEP from NRC, and he was leaning in his rhetoric a bit far right on certain parts. So I really want to keep an eye on what is going on there. JEF has been cited in the last on the budget given by the EP to some organizations for the EP elections by some ECR MEPs of Sweden. I'm also keeping an eye on them. So for that topic, I really want to work hard and keep eyes open so that we can come up with actions if we need, but we really need to monitor this carefully. Then I mentioned rural areas. I mentioned the far right there. I think we should stop to be, we've never been shy, but we can even be less shy when it comes to fighting the rhetoric of the far right. We see a lot of false information out there. We see them being very performant on social media, on TikTok. I think JEF has everything in-house to actually beat them on that floor. And I really welcome also hearing in the FC people interesting of creating a task force on the matter. And of course, we don't forget about the whole geopolitical situation we have in this world. This will probably be less under my realm, because I think we have better candidates out there coming from the region and having been in Ukraine themselves, for instance, that could take the lead on that. But definitely I want to support those sections also financially to continue the fight through JEF there on the ground, so that after all this mess, all this war, we can also rebuild society in a great way, in a way that supports rule of law, democracy, all the principles we have in Jeff. Yes, I'm
you, Anna.
staying within time this time. I could say more, but this is the
Thank
priority.
you. But we have a limited time, and everybody needs the same time to speak. We'll move to the next question, still on political direction. Could you give us an example from your past that shows your experience in advocacy or campaigning, and what did you learn from it? Nea, can you start?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the question. I have a background in also party politics, so done a lot of campaigns there as well. Also in Jeff, Finland. I would say that one campaign that I want to highlight is a social media campaign that we did in Jeff, Finland during the Democracy Under Pressure week. That's something that I think it's super important campaign, and it's always a pleasure to be part of it. And I think I'm really looking forward to also work with that campaign in Jeff Europe level and supporting those people who would be responsible about that project. During my time in political parties, I've done a campaign, for example, to advocate for the basic income. I cannot recall how it's probably say in English at the moment, but universal basic income, I guess. So that's something that I've been advocating for, and that's also something that I think links really nicely to the social justice theme that has been my theme during this campaign and also during the PC season. So those are something I have done in the past.
Thank you, Nea. We'll move on to Deborah.
I already mentioned the European Benches campaign, so I'm not gonna come back to it, even if this was one that really make me more connected to the action, because also physically painting there and then do debate with all the people, it's a way to talk and to bring federalism and talk about Europe, even if in the city, in the country, and in the space where usually this doesn't happen. So that's why this project I'm really proud of, because we created a European bench, and also we talked about Europe in a little city, a little country, and we were able to talk about this topic, even if it was a difficult scenario, difficult area. Then one I want to mention is the Federal Peace Forum. That was a collective work with a lot of people here in Jeff. And I was the one in charge of the event at the Senate. And that's, for me, it's a key to work in Jeff also, because it connects the event and the work with the civil society, that it's really important for Jeff, and that's why we work with Israelis and Palestinians, but connect also with the reporting to decision makers in order to have an impact also in the institutions and like in the one who decide and vote on reality. Last one, it's Europa Porta Europa. Anna already mentioned it, but I think this is a work that we need to do also at the European level. In Italy, we created this network of organization, pro-European organization. So every, like from Greens, from Radicals, from Catholic one, and we decide to do action together to bring them more to federalist position and also to make our message more heard. And I think this has to be also at the European level, like connecting more with youth wing of the party, with pro-European organization, in order to create campaigns together and to emphasize our voice, our presence also in the press, in the European bubble, in the debate, but also in the national level. Because if we build strong alliance and campaign with the European level, we can also try to make them and connect the contact also at the local, at the national, and regional one. So this is for me a campaign that show how it's also simple to create a common ground with pro-European organization, but it's also a difficult, but a work that make us proud and actually make results and goals like reach it, is to work together to resolution, to do action, and to talk about federalism, because like any battle that they are doing at the national level, like politically oriented, it cannot happen and cannot be effective if we don't create the European power at the European level. So that's why we can connect all these struggles and all these battles at the European level of federalism and try to create more like people to do the path with.
Thank you, Deborah. And now to Anna.
Nicholas, can I just ask you to repeat the question, because I've had very emotional
Yes.
time, and I want to just have the question.
We want to hear some of your experience in advocacy or campaigning from your past, and what did you learn from it?
Okay, thank you very much. So I would say that of course, we have the usual European election campaigns, and Mon Vote, Mon Europe of Jeff Friends back in the day when I joined Jeff was definitely impactful to me, and the message was impactful. But I would say later on, the campaign that really I carried a bit more also in Jeff, that also had an impact, and that I still am a bit frustrated about the result of all this is our campaign we did during the conference on the future of Europe, Next Chapter Europe. There I was very invested at a Dutch level, also because we had a citizen panel happening there on migration. I had convened, because it was during COVID time, so you could hardly go on the street to convince people, but we had a very big cross-section debate. There was not much debate, but a lot of presentations where we had brought together many sections of the network to explain the main issues around the migration topic in their countries. We had brought together Latvia, that was having at that point Belarus using hybrid warfare in a way that they were pushing migrants through the border, and they were explaining the situation there and telling us a bit more about it. We had Poland, no, that was not this event, sorry. We had Hungary speaking about the rhetoric, the far-right rhetoric they had in their country around migration and how they wanted to build a wall. We had Greece, the current treasurer actually, Alexandros, presented back in the day the situation of camps of migrants in Greece, and that was quite, it gave us a full picture. We had many Jeffers across the network that were bringing their knowledge on the topic, and actually it was a powerful event, and I wished we would have even followed up more at Jeff Europe level. The policy officer of that time gathered this as inputs that he could use back then, because examples are powerful in advocacy. So he brought those examples when we needed to talk about them. But unfortunately, the Conference on the Future of Europe did not lead to treaty change yet. So I think that, and it's already been more than 5 years now, so it's time to move the institutions and to make it happen, because what came out of it is quite clear. Europe was ready for treaty change, and federal Europe was actually something we wanted. So that was one, and one I'm very proud of. I know that the time is short, but we did this campaign during Democracy Under Pressure in Jeff Netherlands to call out the bullshit. We were taking quotes of the far right and basically fact-checking them, because I think there is nothing more powerful than facts and examples when it comes to call out. Of course, fake news have a way to go around. Disinformation
tight on time, Anna.
That was it.
Thank you. Let's talk a bit about strategy and implementation. The next question is about membership and community. They are at the heart of Jeff. What ideas do you have to grow membership and increase participation opportunities for members across Europe? Now?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part of the question?
Yes, how do you have any ideas to grow membership and increase participation opportunities for members in Europe or across Europe?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So I think that about the membership growth, it begins in local sections. Like no member is there saying that, hey, I want to join Jeff Europe. They want to join their local section or their national section. So I think that what Jeff Europe level could do to help out in here is support the sections, whatever it is that they would need at that point to gain more members. Maybe it's help with coming up guidelines in hosting events. Maybe it's something that we can help about fund applications, so they will have funds to do campaigns that will attract new members. So I think the key is in the European level to support the national sections, so the national sections can support their local sections. When it comes to having different kind of opportunities to the members, I think that we need to, in the European level, we need to focus on organizing that kind of events that as many people can participate as possible. Most of the time, that would mean things online, and I think that we have a huge potential to grow in that department. I think that we need to find event concepts that are appealing also online, because I think that in-person meetings are crucial and we should keep them going. And if we have the means, also have more of them. But there's always a limited amount of people who can participate in that. And that's why I think that online is the new way to go to attract more people and new members as well.
Thank you, Nea. Now to Deborah.
For me, one of the key to attract more members is to, I was mentioning it also before, it's to increase and create a more accessible pathway for the training seminars. That's why I joined Jeff, because of the seminars, and that's why I heard many sections and many Jeffers told me that the seminars was a key to attract new members. So I want to make this pathway more accessible and create more seminars in the geographical area that are lacking now. We have some annual seminars, but not every geographical area are covered by them. And also many of the seminars, for example, the Ventotene one has few spots. This year we had more than 100 applications and just 20 seats. So I think that Jeff Europe can do, it's to support and co-create, if it's needed, these seminars rather than apply for small single events. This historical project has already a structure that is easily used to apply for fundings and also match the needs of many grants. So Jeff Europe Secretariat can help by organizing a small section in these seminars, help to amplify the seats for the seminars, and also can help to create more seminars according to the sections. And that is a way to create more opportunity. Then creating a project working group between the sections to listen more the needs, because we usually apply for fundings, but we are not sure they match the needs of the section. So create this coordination between the sections, between the project officer, between the presidents can be a key to solve some problems. And also the last one is to try to fix our problems about financial sustainability, by also introduce new tools that help us monitoring liquidity, create a target group of people that can donate, also have a cash flow, a provisional budget shared with the national section that we don't have now. So these tools are easy, and I know Hannah will talk about it more, but are easy and can help Jeff to have basically more money to support the sections, organize all the events and do more grants. So I really think that Jeff Europe can have a role on sharing and also help the sections sharing best practice. So for example, in the website of Jeff Europe, I remember there were the European Bench Initiative.
Sorry to interrupt, but our time is a bit limited.
Yeah, and many other initiatives from sections that can be implemented in the country.
Thank you, Deborah. And now to Anna.
Okay, that's actually one of my main core work at the moment as a capacity building co-chair, but I'll tell you more about it. So ideas to make the membership bigger, but also give opportunities. For me, what worked on me is visibility. So I think that I know that there has been many talks on merch. I think we can definitely go broader than that. There is much creativity in the network, and that can actually also be an income stream. It can attract people, but also be an income stream. So I don't see why we don't start to do it. So that's one visibility part. And then once people see you, of course, you need to keep them on board. So during this mandate, I've been working on the concept of volunteering pathway. That's how does a Jeffer from the day one they enter the association to the moment they become presidents of Jeff Europe. It can happen for a few of them. How do you support them along the way? What strategies, HR management strategies of volunteers can be put in place at the level of the section, and how structure can support and keep them in and like give them the tools they need, and also cater to different profiles, because of course we have a lot of students in political science programs. Not only we have Nia as an example here, but we need to be able to go beyond that, and for that we need to diversify also the actions we do and cater to young professionals. I mean, we have sections that can learn from each other in that perspective, and that has always been our approach in capacity building, because most of the solutions there already exist in the network. They just need replication maybe elsewhere. So that's more about the membership. And I think that with that, also, I agree with the local section being the most important part, because you need to have the community. And during COVID, we have experienced this online fatigue. So I agree with Nea on the online aspect, but I also think definitely having rooted this in the in-person meeting is important. I also agree with the international seminars, and we definitely need to support them. I have thought in my campaign, and you can see it on the website, of a new task force.
Sum up, Anna, would be great.
Yeah, the project accelerator to support section in actually writing projects together. It's more going further than twinnings. It's actually giving the tools through like with funding and like supporting them. It's very startup nation, but it's, I think, something that can work because we have people that can lead that. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna. And now one last question before we move on to the Q&A round. It's on the financial side. What are your thoughts on improving JEF's financial stability and ensure fair access and participation for members regardless of their background? Now, could you start?
Yes, thank you for the question. Well, first of all, I think that we need to work towards any kind of operational grant in the capacity that what's possible, but still saying that projectifying our
I think someone has a microphone open. Or...
Sorry.
Okay, yes. So still projectifying our action and activities is something that we need to do moving forward to the beginning of next mandate at least. And I think that projectifying is tricky situation because like it ties us up to projects where it could be more difficult to cover like the basic expenses, let's say rent, salaries of SG and so on. But I think that we need to find the key points in our activities and figure out the fundings that we can apply and gain that answer to that. So even though we need to be projectifying, I think that we need to keep the focus on what do we want to do and not like what fundings are available in the world. So I think that's something that we need to remember. About fair access, I think that it's super important that participating in JEF and volunteering, especially in JEF, is not something that you need to do out of your own pocket. This is an organization where most of us are volunteers, nearly everyone. So it's not fair that you need to pay in order to do volunteer work. So whatever we decide on full-time president to the next mandate, I think it's crucial that we keep the practice that FC members, directly elected FC members, are reimbursed for their travels and accommodations. And I do think that we need to find ways to make the support for other members of our events also stronger. So Solidarity Fund needs to be either bigger or it needs to put in better use, like be more effective.
Thanks so much now. And now to Deborah.
Yeah, for financial, I already told some idea, but I will create other quotes on it. I think that the loss of the Serve operating grant really marked moment, like a turning point for our organization and a moment of crisis, and we need to adapt to think to all the tools that we can implement to solve this and to ensure the stability of Jeff. I was mentioned some basic tools that our organization is missing. So for example, our reporting system, like even a fuller, like a paper with cash flow, with deadlines of projects, the successful rate of projects, also a list of projects that we can apply. I was mentioned the target list of people that can donate. So many Jeffers that are not Jeffer anymore had reached some high-level position and job, and I'm sure that by reaching them by an email, asking for help and fundings for doing campaign, I'm sure that many of them can donate and will be happy to donate for Jeff Europe. And then transparency, it's a key. Also to rebuild trust with the national section and start to work with them to share best practice. For example, the project working group I was mentioned before, it's also important not just for section to express the needs of Jeff Europe, but also from Jeff Europe to have some inputs to do projects better and to coordinate and make the project needs with the like match with the needs of the organization. Another thing that I think it's really important for accessibility is to treat non-European Union sections as the European one. So ensure that the member of the sections outside the European Union that are not yet members are ready and treat as everyone else, and also have access to some opportunities. It's difficult to give them European direct fundings of the European Union, but there are many projects, for example, the European Council, and a lot of partners that we can work with to ensure also the accessibility for them and fairness when we talk about secondary events. I agree with all that Nea told about the voluntary and also the needs of reimbursement for people that can allow to do that. And maybe we can put optionally if someone has, for example, a high income and it's not like needed for the reimburse, but of course the standard has to be to have it and also to implement the solidarity funds when it's needed. About liquidity,
Could you sum up, Deborah?
Yeah, yes. Last things, it's for transparency, we need to share the provisional budget with all the national sections and work together to reduce our dependency of the risk of low income lines, non-conditional fundings, etc.
Thank you, Deborah. And now to Anna.
That's the core of the business I'm running for. So very nice that other candidates have plenty of ideas as well. It shows that potentially we have a team of people that are very engaged. That is good. So for me, well, one thing definitely in this whole budget situation is that we should not forget who we are in the process, that our budget lines should still remain in line with our political priorities, and that in projects we are not used and we are actually making our best to use those projects to also advance our advocacy. I'm doing that in another organization. I also think we should explore further programs. We are very much in Erasmus. We are working with the Council of Europe. I know that we have applied for One Horizon project in this cycle. I've seen that in the email of Christos. I was very happy about it. I think we can also go there because there is programs that offer more stability. But of course, everything should be based on public support, because at some point, sometimes they can become unreliable those days. So diversification is very essential. So there I had mentioned the idea of funding some programs, especially capacity building seminars, through private donors, and there it's a lot about relationships. For me, we are setting a project together and we go meet people that are willing to invest in such programs. I know them very well in the agricultural sector. I know that there is also quite some networks that are willing to support in Brussels, but it's very much a relationship thing. So I think that this is part of the efforts that have to be put down in the first 6 months of the mandate to really create connections, because it's a lot about personal connections. So just trying to move around here. So we've covered the public side. Now, transparency side, indeed. That was mentioned before. There, I think that our presentation of our budgets to our members in the FCs, it's a bit maybe confusing for many of them because not everyone is a European project manager. Not everyone knows the budget of an organization like Jeff. So it's very important for us to present the numbers, but also be pedagogical about them. And I'm in favor of having the good practice of having a handbook. We can discuss with the Secretary General on how often the handbook is updated or how much edition we do per year. But I think this is essential to have an explanatory note that can be already accessible beforehand by all the sections so that they can understand better and not just be in front of a big sheet with a lot of numbers and be wondering why is there written here for that? I don't understand. It's very essential because it can also create a lot of emotional triggers. We have experienced that over with the loss of the operating grant, which in the end we could have not won as well, but it created a lot of emotional stir. And this, of course, has an impact on the team at the end of the day. So it's important that we communicate things transparently so that everyone feels that they're informed in the right way and can come to discuss. One thing for me also is
Anna, I
important.
think you have to move to the Q&A. We're a bit behind times.
Guys, go ahead in the Q&A because that's my topic, basically.
All right. Thanks to all of you three candidates for your insights so far. We'll now move to Q&A. Please post your questions in the chat. Ideally address to all candidates of the same role, so to both VPs or for the treasurer, and I will read them out. And for this section, each candidate will have 90 seconds to answer, a bit less, so we can cover as many questions as possible. We already have a question. Staffel sent it to me in a DM. It's for the VPs. So, in your view, what are the steps of any campaign from planning to implementation and to evaluation? What needs to be taken care of at each stage? Maybe we switched around and Deborah will start this time to keep it fair.
Thank you so much. For me, a united Jeff means also a Jeff where sections can trust Jeff. So, for example, working on better working climate in Jeff, it's needed, and it passes also by more clear communication. So when we also set the communication rules in the next board, the way we decide to share communication like more frequently with the sections can really help to build a more united Jeff, and also by doing campaign together, by creating campaigns together. The project working group, task force, or also the platform presidents, etc. All these bodies are needed in Jeff because we really need to listen and to be able to debate together, to build something together, and not to create the things and the campaign from Jeff and then add sections to implement it. So a more united Jeff, for me, it's also a Jeff that developed things, projects, campaigns, everything with the sections, with the Jeffers. And that's why I propose some tools, and I'm also sharing this with Nea and Hannah because we all have this view of needed of create a better working climate, and we are whole deciding to create tools for it. And welcome place, for me, it's also about create more opportunity, because when you apply for seminars and you are always rejected because there are no enough seats, it's not good to be part of a community that cannot give you the opportunity to join the events, to join the seminars. And that's why, for example, when we have few spots for seminar, we are likely to choose people that we know that are active. And for me, this pass also to try to implement more seminars, more opportunity to amplify the opportunity and the opportunity to debate and to share, because when people are part of the community, when people can raise the voice and say what they are thinking, I think that Jeff can be more united, more welcome place, because everyone is heard. And then, of course, try to make the code of conduct more applied and to choose the right contact person to all events.
Thank you, Deborah. Now you can also have 2 minutes. We don't have so many questions, so you can take your time if you want to answer.
Sure, just making sure like we are answering now the question by Pieta in the chat.
No, it was another question. It came to in my inbox. I will post it also here.
Oh, okay. I was answering the PETA.
Yes, you mean it was a misunderstanding. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so which
Uh,
one do you want me to answer?
You can answer also to Pieta, and then we can move to the other question.
Okay, yeah. All right. So more united and welcoming place is definitely one of my key themes in my campaign. I think that there are a few points that I want to highlight how we are going to make that happen in the next mandate. It all starts from the beginning. When the next mandate is started, I think it's crucial that we have proper onboarding and proper team building. The onboarding is really crucial so that we are all on the same page. What is the division of work? What is expected of us? And what's going to happen throughout the mandate. So I think that is something that is going to help us to be more united. I also think that it's critical that we will have an accessible organization during the next mandate. Right now, it's not. It's not enough that we only invite everyone to join if it's not, in fact, possible for them to do so. And as a disabled person myself, I can say that if you do not know if it's possible for you to attend, you are not seeking to participate. And now we are leaving very many young people across Europe outside of this network. So this is something that we definitely need to fix. As a third thing, I could mention that we need safe environment and welcoming environment in our network, and that we can help a lot during the next mandate when we are revising the code of conduct. It's gonna lapse, so we need to adopt it again and make revisions on the way. We also need better training for our code of conduct contact persons so that everyone in this network can feel supported and safe, and also the contact persons can feel prepared. So I think those would be key 3 things. I have millions of more. I would be happy to talk about them later.
Thank you, Nea. And I think this question, since we started this one, is also for Anna, if you want to answer also.
Perfect. Thank you very much. How I agree with many things that have been said. For me, like, of course, it starts all at the end of the mandate for the JEF Europe level that needs to be more united, and we have been I don't have words anymore to express it, but you understand what I mean. We need to have a proper team building at the start of this mandate so that EB and FC can work together hand in hand at the service of the network and with the network. This has been lacking in the previous mandate, also because we started our mandate in the rush of the European elections. So of course, there was a lot. And it has been difficult, and I really want us to know each other better, know our way of working, and also see everyone's what they are bringing to the role. I think it's very important that we have a very horizontal leadership style. I come from one back home in the Netherlands. That's how we were operating. Everyone was at the same level, and I think that's also. I think this is something that is very rooted in federalism per se. Like JEF is rooting for federalism, but we are also having that within our own structures, and we should apply the same values that we want from governance and institutions inside of our own organization. So I want also very strong counterbalances to our power. I'm very much looking forward to being, like, if I were elected treasurer, being very much held responsible by the auditors, because this is how we do things properly, and structures are there to actually create this welcoming and united space. I'm personally also on the larger side of humanity, in terms of sometimes it's harder to physically access places, and also sometimes I don't think that our FCs, for instance, have a program that is humanly manageable in a healthy way, a well-being oriented way. We need to think of taking breaks and do things properly so that people can still remain in those political debates, because it should not be the one that can hold the longest in the meeting that should be the one deciding politically at the end of the day. It's not a fair thing to do it that way.
Thank you,
This is
Anna.
something that will be tough to be working on, but voila, I wanted to say more, but this is already a few elements.
Yes, and since we have just 13 minutes left, I would ask you to answer in 90 seconds so we can cover as many questions as we can. Back to the question just for the VPs, what are the steps from campaign to planning to implementation and evaluation? What needs to be taken care of at each stage? Deborah, you can start.
Yeah, for me, first of all, it's to map and try to decide together the goal of our action. So decide the goal of we want to reach. So for example, when we think about the campaign that I mentioned, democracy under pressure, Schengen, we have to have a practical goal and also a political hope as a goal. So I will take democracy under pressure as a benchmark. When we decide, so for example, Geoff Europe has a proposal on how to implement it, then listen the sections to hear from them if they like the idea, if they have another ideas to complement, if they want to raise some criticism, question to get better the plan of the action. So for example, in my program, you can read it. I wrote a lot of proposal to how to coordinate and which is to take care in every stage of all the campaign I mentioned in the program. And then the implementation has to be more organized. So we need to create tools that are applying for every sections. And for example, you have to ask for their needs, what support they need, and also try to search for Geoff volunteering, try to help them to implementing the campaign. And for example, some sections have problem with graphics. We can ask if a volunteer of other sections or from the European Secretariat is available to help them, and that can be a real huge impact on the capabilities and the way that the sections can work. Last, it's creating the network. We are not alone fighting for a united democratic Europe. So every idea, every campaign, we need to take care of our friends of the journey. So we need to create an alliance between parties, association, between other federalist movement to go together. And we have to take care that every stage it's transparent, it's well communicated with all the network, and we are ready and we are available to ask for partnership, ask for fundings, and ask for like events and press to have interview, release, and our presence, it's more evaluated for the campaign across all the network.
Thank you, Deborah. And now to Nia.
Thank you. Well, 90 seconds to have a project plan. I will try. I think that in the planning phase, we need to make sure that firstly, we are working together with the team, and work division is the crucial part here. So that, like I talked about Geoff Europe, everyone knows what they are doing and what's expected of them, and that we cover everything. There's someone named to each thing, because like if it's someone, no one is doing it. I also think that at the planning we need to set out the measures so that at the end we will know if we completed those, how did we succeed in the project. Well, implementation, it comes together with having effective team. Effective team needs effective and responsible leader or leaders. It also needs us to keep the deadlines, also set the deadlines and then keep them. And also I think it's crucial to benefit from earlier templates to done for similar projects like Excel sheets or anything like that. Or I would prefer even project tools like Monday or Trello or something like that. And then for the evaluation, most important thing is to check the measures. Did we complete them? Collect feedback and say thank you for all the volunteers and the employees in the project.
Thank you, Nia, also for completing in 90 seconds. And now a question to everyone from Sara Bertolli. She asked about, since we also have a non-EU section, how would you help them? And also, how will you decline JEF Europe campaigns to non-EU countries? Do you have experience? Maybe Anna can start.
That's definitely a very important question. I mean, we are not in a European election year, so in that way we are less exclusive, I would say, to our network. And I think that on many aspects that have been mentioned already in this call, not by only myself, but also by others, it's something that is cross-border. When it comes to fight against far-right populism, unfortunately, happening everywhere. When it comes to rule of law backsliding, unfortunately, happening everywhere. And probably in a bigger extent because there is less protective measures for countries outside of the EU. I'm thinking like in the region of the Western Balkans and what's happening in Serbia and what is happening also at the Eastern Partnership side of Europe in Georgia. And I mean, also to a certain extent, like hybrid like meddling in elections has happened also in Moldova, but still. I think that when it comes to declining JEF campaigns there, it will be also quite a challenge of funding, of how we fund these campaigns. And there, definitely a diversification of how we provide budgets to our sections. Diversification of funding will help maybe to have the part of their campaign, if we cannot finance them through our usual projects, to have them fund on the side by a fundraising campaign or having like let's see what is possible to do there with sponsors, because it's always a bit sensitive. So I'm thinking that, and I think that I'm getting closer to the end of the time, so I don't have much more to add. When it comes to experience, I have not yet, but I think I can have the tools to support.
Thank you, Anna. Deborah, can you continue?
Yes. For fundings, I already told that we need to apply also or try to develop partnership with organizations that can create microgrants also for that sections. And about campaign, I think, again, democracy under pressure should act as a bridge between European Union country and non-European Union country, because many of them are fighting for more democracy, for more rights, for a European future. And if we are able to coordinate and create tools together to help them politically, but also help them practically to organize events. For example, I have experience I was in Albania when there was a problem with the immigration center in Albania, and this is all about immigration policy in the European Union. I was in Ukraine when there was the possibility to go and bring humanitarian aid to the country and try to create a more connected partnership and dialogue with the civil society. And I was also in Serbia when Novi Sad was the European capital of youth, in Novi Sad and in Niš with Jeffers, actually, because it was a program of the European Council that creates opportunity event in those countries. So first of all, we need to create more connection to our campaign with non-EU country, and I think democracy under pressure has to be the key. And also it helps to push for a European future of them and support them. That, for example, I want also to mention Ines, that was in Turkey and he was put in jail because of speech at the European country. And actually we were together in 2022 at the JEF working plan seminars in Budapest. So this means in practice what JEF Europe network can do for people outside Europe. And I think this is so precious and we need to implement there more.
Thank you, Deborah. And to Nea?
Yes, thank you. First of all, an idea. We need to search how this could maybe be implemented. But about the funding of non-EU countries in projects, I do understand that there are a lot of fundings where it matters if the section is in an EU country or not. Could we find a funding throughout the mandate or 1 year or whatever that could cover all the costs from different projects that come from non-EU countries? So that the project could be about making sure that everyone in our network can participate, not depending on which country do you come from, because I do agree with Deborah that it's super important that people can participate, because there are like, they want the European future in that country and we want them in JEF. So it doesn't make any sense that we wouldn't find a solution to do so. About experience with working with non-EU countries, unfortunately, not so much yet. But I think that one thing that I need to do as VP if I'm elected, and also I have done a lot of time, is to delegate. And I know that in our network there are many people, many candidates who are really experienced in that department, and I would be happy to support them as a board member to help out and support the non-EU member sections.
Thank you, Nea. I think we have time only for one last question from the Q&A due to time. Maybe we can select Benedetta's question because it's a bit spicy, let's say. This has been a demanding mandate for JEF Europe, with internal tension sometimes distracting from the organization's focus. Pragmatically, how would you address the current culture of gossip and division to restore a healthier and more collaborative environment? Anna, you can start.
Yes, it's indeed a question, I mean, that has been with us for some time, I would say. I would say definitely that, I mean, this, how do I start on this part? I would say that we should keep close to one essential aspect for everyone, and I think we can all agree on that, and we can move forward with that in mind, is that we are here actually to carry the vision of JEF, and like having like sometimes being able to take a step back and your own emotions with you and not pollute this mission is a good thing. We need to be able to talk constructively when we have emotions toward each other, and to be able to get to know each other better. I'm thinking in the team at European level. For me, there, the team building will be crucial. Why did we probably not manage to work well together? Because we did not get to understand how we were functioning properly, because we did not spend enough time getting to do that work. And then once the trust is breached, it's very hard to repair it. So I want us to start with a very good trust level. And that's, yeah, of course, I cannot stay in the way of anyone wanting to start gossip. That is like, we won't have a gossip police. But I think that already starting with this very positive outlook and this very, I mean, as leaders, we need also to show example, and like carrying that message and showcasing that strong bond and not letting that go between us. It's already a way to say to the network, it's the end of the era of gossips and of division, and we want to move around together. And also with this horizontal leadership style, I think that can help a lot. When people are heard, they don't resort to infra-politics as much, because gossip is infra-politics. It has been used by women a lot in society in the past to carry women movements, you know. But I think, yeah, for gossip to disappear, we need to give a bit more power to the people.
Thank you, Anna. And now to Deborah.
I will try to be less rude as I can to answer this question. For me, we need to recenter on politics, because when we are focused on our mission, our federalism, our campaigns, our way to like work, we don't have time to do gossip. We all have our busy lives and our busy stuff to do. And I think this is not, we need to shift energy from internal drama to external impact. And for me, this is the key where I work to work with. This is the goal. The method to reach this goal is to create a space for cooperation, not for competition. So, for example, when we have to work in communication and we have a B person in charge of communication and we have also a task force in charge of communication, we need to have a clear responsibility, clear communication in order to not create space for conflicts and for drama. And then as a federalist, I believe that we need to institutionalize the conflicts. So if there is some problems, some needs, we need to create institutions like body to solve this problem. And I think the contact person, the code of conduct, and also to create a space to clearly say if someone or is something hurts our feeling, or it's an obstacles, or it's something that prevent us of working with someone or with some campaign. I think we really need a space and trustful person to work on this. And for me also, it's personally, I will try to work, if elected, to create a space where there is a lot of work and happiness about goal reached, and about, for example, opportunities to people, that we don't need to be competitive between us, to also have some conflicts to who will go to these opportunities or ever, because we will be able to create a space for everyone to learn to grow in this organization, as I did a lot, and to try to also grow as a person. And we need to be professional. Like, we are part of this organization, but we have also
If
political
you could sum up,
responsibility.
Deborah, that would be great.
Yeah, political responsibility. We are part of a legacy of federalists who shaped the European debate. So I think we really need to focus more on our action and our goal rather than conflicts and internal drama.
Thank you, Deborah. And now to Nea.
Thank you. A good question. I think that we need to start with a clean slate to the next mandate. That means a combination of people who have been there before, people who are new, but all people who are ready to move on from the difficulties of this mandate. Team building, like mentioned here before, is the crucial key here, because I think that when we are friends with each other, we will expect the best of others, not the worst. And then we will also help out others in completely different way when we are friends, or at least friendly with each other. So team building is crucial here. Also something that I have tons of experience, both in JEF Finland and also when I was in the student union board, where I handled all the tutoring of the UAS. Also, I think we need a united team moving forward. And that's why it has been clear from me from day one of my campaign that I'm working with both president candidates. Also, just before this call, we published with Deborah our joint VP program, as we are the two VP candidates at the moment for two VP positions. So I think that it's crucial that there is someone in the new board who is willing to be the mediator and making the united team from day one.
Thank you, Nea. Unfortunately, we didn't have time for all the questions. Thank you very much to all of our candidates for tonight's discussion. Thanks to everyone who joined and participated. I think it was a valuable opportunity for members to get to know the people standing for the next mandate. From my side, I would like to thank JEF Europe for inviting me to moderate tonight's call. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, thank you to the candidates for being respectful, insightful, and on time. With that, I will hand the floor back to Kati for a short closing word.
Hi, thank you so much. It's been lovely to just sit here and listen into all of your visions and ideas. Obviously, coming from and building upon our strong and long Federalist background and history, and building on that strong ideological basis and visioning towards the future. But without further ado, I want to take this floor an opportunity to remind everyone about the rest of the candidate introduction calls. Next one taking place tomorrow. Same place, but different link, but same time, so 7 p.m. on the 29th, so tomorrow, with our president candidates. And then next week for the executive board candidates on the 5th of November, also at 7 p.m. All of the links are in our WhatsApp chat, so you will find them there. And I will keep reminding about these. But a huge thank you for Nikos, obviously, for hosting today, and to all three of you for running and candidating for next mandates. I really feel that we leave this organization in very capable hands. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Good night.